Hello everyone, it's Jen from Old Tinkerer Studio. In this tutorial, we will be looking at lighting in Blender 2.83. Specifically, we will be exploring the spotlight. So let's get on with the tutorial. I will briefly talk about the common settings between the lights and some differences between the Cycles render engine and Eevee when it comes to lighting. There are two common settings among all the lights. The type defines the shape of the light, and the color is the tint of the emitted light. If we select the light in the default scene and open the Light tab, we can see that we have four light options: point, sun, spot, and area. Let's look at the spotlight. Make sure the light is selected in the scene and change the light option to spot. A spotlight emits a cone-shaped beam of light from the tip of the cone in a given direction. The spotlight allows us to confine light to a very specific beam of light within the scene, which is similar to a spotlight in a theater or a flashlight. Notice that there is a cone of light that we can work with when we're using this type of light. The direction can be changed by rotating the spotlight like any other object. In render mode, if we move the spotlight up and down along the z-axis, we can see how the light fall off changes the lighting on the cube. If we move the spotlight to the top center of the cube, now we see that the top of the cube is the only well-lit face. This will be even more evident when we change the color. Let's look at the options available to us in both Eevee and Cycles. We have a preview window that will show us what the light will look like in the scene. We can change the color of the light using the color picker. So if we change the color to a bright yellow, we can now see that the cube has a yellow color highlight added to it from the spotlight. We can change how weak or strong the spotlight is by changing the power option. The power option is the power of the light in watts. The higher the value, the more intense the light. The spot shape has two options: size and blend. The size is the outer cone of the spotlight. The slider controls the angle of the top of the cone and can be set between 1 and 180 degrees. The blend controls the inner cone of the spotlight. The slider can be set between 0 and 1. This value is proportional and represents the amount of space that the inner cone should occupy inside the outer cone. The rest of the options available are different for the Eevee and Cycles render engines. We will start with the options available in the Eevee render engine. The Specular option is the Specular Light Intensity Multiplier, which is used for more artistic control. Any setting other than a 1 will give you a non-photorealistic result. The radius controls the surface from which the light is emitted. Larger sizes have softer shadows and specular highlights. If we change the radius from 0.1 to 1, we can see how much softer the shadows are in the scene. Custom distance sets a custom attenuation distance instead of a global light threshold. Attenuation means that objects further from a light appear darker. Distance determines where the light influence will be set to 0. If we change the distance to 20, we notice that the objects further away now become darker. The shadow option contains two properties, clip start and bias. The clip start is the distance from the light where the shadow map starts. If we change the clip start to 7, we can now see a noticeable change in where the shadow meets the bottom of the cube. Bias is used to reduce self-shadowing artifacts, which are streaks of shadows in your scene. Contact shadows are used to fix light leaking caused by bias or shadow map undersampling. The distance property refers to the world space distance in which to search for screen space occluder, which is the approximation of the ambient occlusion effect in real time. As soon as we turn on the contact shadows, we see a difference in how the shadow hugs the bottom of the cube. If we change the distance to 5, we can now see a change in how the shadow acts. The bias property is applied to ray tracing to reduce self-shadowing artifacts, and the thickness property is used to detect occlusion. Now let's look at the options available in the Cycles render engine. The size is the same as the radius in Eevee, in that it controls the surface from which the light is emitted. Larger sizes have softer shadows and specular highlights. The max bounce option sets the maximum number of times light is allowed to bounce, which refers to the reflection or transmission of a light ray upon interaction with a material. In Cycles, the shadows are simply turned on or off. This determines whether the cast shadow option is turned on or off. Multiple importance is used to reduce the noise produced when using glossy reflections. This has been a quick overview of the spotlight in Blender. The other lights will be inspected in future videos. If you have a request for a tutorial or a question about Blender, feel free to leave a comment. If you're interested in learning more about 3D art and animation, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.